Andor.
Whee!
Episode 161 of our
161.2
I don't know. Anymore.
of our show. Just put points. Just put decimal points behind everything.
Okay. Andor.
Woo!
Okay, so Andor is a Star Wars production.
Star Wars.
A series about
Star Wars.
Now, I'm not very Star Wars-esque.
Do you know what his first name is?
My problem was I thought Andor was a place. I thought it was a planet or something. And then I'm going into it and I'm hearing Andor and I'm like, huh. But the first 2 episodes I was kind of asleep. But so I didn't clue in. So today, when I went back to start watching again, I figured out that his name is Andor.
You just thought maybe they were calling him, hey, planet, the entire time?
I just
hey, guy named after a planet.
I didn't realize. And the funny thing with that as well is I didn't connect it to the events that happen in...
Andor.
No, the Squadron? No.
Yep, Squadron. It was a show called Squadron.
This is a sequel.
It starred Leslie Nielsen.
Sorry, no.
And there were other policemen.
This is a prequel.
And then they made that into the movie Naked Gun. They were called Star Wars Squadron.
Star Wars Squadron.
Pew, 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 pew.
8.
Pew, 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 pew.
Right.
Star Wars 8, The Squadron.
What's the movie called?
Squadron.
You're an
Star
ass.
Wars Squadron. Starring Andor. He runs around going, fuck you, Ewoks. Also, what is the planet called, the forest that the Ewoks live on?
It's not Kashyyyk, is it?
No, it's not fucking Kashyyyk.
Endor.
Endor.
That's probably
How
why.
the fuck did you think
Okay.
Andor and Andor are the same fucking guy? I don't see the Ewoks
It's
crawling on this
one
fucking
letter
guy.
different.
You're probably watching the show. Go, where's all the Ewoks? I thought this was
It's
fucking Andor.
One vowel. No, see, I didn't connect it that well because my brain doesn't go. You know what
I've
Star
heard
Wars
this planet
I know of?
before, but I don't know what it is.
I know the main movies of Star Wars, and I know Boba Fett.
Where the
and
fuck is... You're probably the whole time
Grogu.
watching the show. Where the hell is Darth Vader?
I'm like, Grogu's supposed to be here. Isn't
That's
he?
right. Where the fuck is the Mandalorian? But you would have preferred it. Where the hell is Conan the Barbarolorian? And you're like, where the fuck is Conan Barbarolorian?
Babushka.
Conan the Babushkalorian. And he's like a little Russian doll that fucking... His superpower is he breaks in half and another person jumps out of him.
We can't mention Russia.
That's what it is. That's what it is. A babushka is a little
We're gonna
Russian
get flagged
doll.
like 300
Ah,
times.
fuck joking Paul and his fucking drinks.
Hey, they're not Russian.
They should be. The point is, Andor is from planet fuck.
Whoa.
I forgot planet
Wouldn't
from.
that be awesome?
Shit.
Where are you
not
from?
Carda.
Planet
Not
Fuck.
Carda. Fuck. Cassian Andor is from... I can't remember.
You
Point
were like,
is,
don't bring that up. Yeah, no, not
he is
that
not
all, yeah,
from
then.
the planet Endor, which is a forest moon of the planet Endor.
Yeah, you keep talking. I'm
Okay,
gonna find
so
it.
what I liked about this story...
Morlana 1.
Morlana?
Industrial planet of Morlana 1.
Oh, no, he's searching for his sister on it.
Shit.
For fuck's sakes.
We're not there yet. Okay.
Who cares? Doesn't matter. Point is, what I liked about the show, so I did enjoy the show. What I liked about it was I didn't need to know anything going into it. You effectively didn't need to know who Cassian Andor was in the show that he was in, Squadron. That movie that he's from, the Star Wars movie, Squadron.
Thanks.
You
Rob.
didn't need to know that he was from that. You didn't need to effectively know that there are Jedis or there are Sith or there are anything in this story. It was just a very self-contained, tiny story that was about this little part, this little thing that Cassian Andor did, and then when his mom died. That's really all that happens in the story. If you were to stretch it out and say, hey, what happens in the story? You could say
no.
Luthen decides...
Because what you just explained isn't like what is going to get your attention most.
For
There's
me,
two things in this. Okay, three. I'll give you 3 things that happen in this whole series that really get your attention, and everything else is just piped in drama that doesn't really need to be there. And I understand you would look at it as Mandalorian or Boba Fett.
Star Wars lore-ish type of thing.
It's
Yeah.
just all like it's
See,
all porn. Like Action porn.
Yes, that's right. Porn.
No, like Star Wars
porn.
action porn.
Star Wars porn.
It's like when you're watching.
That was where Andor originally comes from. He starred in Squadron, and
Planet
then he was in. He's fucking a bunch of Ewoks from planet Andor.
and Andor 1.
DP Wicket, the DP Ewok.
So I fell asleep during the first 2 episodes.
God, you know what? I will say
It was boring as fuck.
I wouldn't say it's boring as fuck, but it's
The
very
first 2 episodes.
very slow moving.
Yeah.
But see, I like that. I've been finding that with all like the Marvel stuff and the I call it the Disney Star Wars stuff, but the Disney Star Wars movies, they're just too loud and bombastic and constant and assaulting on your brain.
That's the thing with movies now. They have to get your attention
And
right away. And
I don't like
Avatar is
that.
going to be like 4 hours of that.
Yep. I don't like that at all. And so I like that this Andor was just a very small, a very basic story. It's very simple. It's not complex to understand at all.
No, because they put like a few episodes at a time are different than other episodes. So, but yeah, my favorite parts of the whole series were okay. I'm gonna let you guess these 3 things in this movie.
I know what 3 things
series.
are.
Okay, what are the 1, 2, 3? Okay, what are the 3 things?
I have a feeling that you probably liked the heist.
Okay.
I have a feeling you probably liked the escape from the prison.
Okay, 2 for 2.
And I have a feeling that you liked the end Rebel Uprising.
Yes.
Yay!
If you were to take this whole series and bring it down to just those and like flesh them out maybe a little more,
But they kind of
that would be amazing.
I thought they were really well fleshed out.
They were, but you had all this other drama that was happening. All the stuff that happened on what Coruscant? Coruscant. All the Coruscant stuff could be out of this,
which is funny.
and no one would care.
Because right now I'm listening to another podcast where they were talking about the prequels, and the guy keeps on calling it Coruscant, and I'm like, when you say Coruscant, you're coming very close to saying a different word.
Yeah.
So call it Coruscant. That's how everyone pronounces it.
I always want to
Coruscant.
say Coruscant.
Coruscant, and I'm like, don't say Kant so fast.
Yeah.
It sounds bad.
Coruscant. All that stuff could go.
I thought the Mon Mothma stuff was cool. I
found
enjoyed
it
but again, I
boring.
think I enjoyed it because
It was political drama.
I know who Mon Mothma was. I think that was a little bit of a time to try to get people who watched the original prequels, because a lot of that is all tied up in the
Yeah,
Trade
I can
Federation
see that.
against the Rebel Uprising.
But it was too much of the same. He's like, oh, you couldn't come to my stupid shop that isn't a shop. And it's like, oh, okay.
See, I feel like that is one of those things where it's showing you the beginnings of how these people came together.
Yeah.
And it's going to grow as the series progresses. But I get your point. For someone that's not like a Star Wars aficionado, you'd watch that going, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
And for me, it was on the flip side for stuff like Book of Boba Fett, where I was like, oh god, this is like Star Wars porn. Speaking of sex and Star Wars,
which someone like me loves that stuff.
yeah. And I was just like, nah, this is I've seen all that with Star Wars. Now I want to see these little tiny individual stories, and that's what I like about Andor.
Love the overarching theme of the only way we can change things is have to accept that we're going to do bad things so that we can bring about a better place for the people in the future.
Yep.
And that is great. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And in the real world, that's how it works.
Yeah, I really like that he was like, you know what? Sometimes the only way to stand up against the violent is to be violent towards them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can agree or disagree with that, but I like that they had the balls to kind of do a show like that. I really enjoyed. I think Diego Luna is fantastic in this character as Castiandor. I really liked Andy Serkis's Kino Loy, I believe that the character's name. He was fucking great. I really enjoy Andy Serkis. I think he's such a fucking good actor.
Let's dumb it down, the plot of the whole thing. Like, it's just...
If you were to try to say, hey, what's this whole show about? To me, this whole show is about a couple of different things, But main thing, it's about Cassian Andor changing from idealistic rebel
Yeah.
to rebel put into action.
But I mean, like going through the series, he is trying to find information about his sister, right?
Yep, he's trying to find his sister
Because
again.
he hasn't seen his sister since he was taken off of their planet by his mother.
Yeah,
Or not his mother at the time.
Yep.
The actual Andor.
Yep.
Okay, so then he tries to find out information, kills 2 Empire guards.
Yep, 2 guards.
Which-
As the rebel is in its arguable heyday, like while the Empire is growing, is still in the process of growth, but is already a formidable force.
and that gets the attention of someone who's trying to rise in the ranks.
Yep.
And tries to go out of his way to stop Andor.
I thought that actor too was fantastic in his role. He was a great
I agree.
blend of,
I like that actor.
he's kind of pathetic and dangerous.
Isn't he in Game of Thrones?
I don't know. I don't think so. He might have been, but I just found the actor just great. I thought he was really
I think it's
good
someone
at
else,
what he
but
did.
I like that actor.
Honestly, I thought all the acting on this entire show was really good. And again, it Book of Boba Fett left a kind of a bad taste in my mouth. And this one just was, this is how I want my Star Wars shows to be.
So dude shows up on Andor's planet. Or his new planet,
planet that he lives
lives
on.
with
Yep.
his mom and everything.
Luthian, talking about Stellan Skarsgård, right?
No, I'm talking about that too.
Oh, that guy.
But
okay.
yeah, that guy that's trying to chase him down for killing the 2 guards,
Mhm.
trying to prove himself to the Empire, pretty much. Chases him down to this place with an armed detachment, while Andor is trying to meet up with a buyer to sell a part that will get him a good amount of chunk change. That all goes down at the same time, which then causes the buyer and him to team up, and that's Skarsgård.
Yeah, and his name's Luthian. I do love that Luthian says to him, I don't give a shit about thing. What I care about is you, because I'm recruiting people.
Yeah.
Don't you want to, instead of just bitching about how you don't like the Empire, don't you want to actually do something against them? And I liked that. I felt like this show was kind of the birth of that, the beginnings of the actual rebel uprising.
Yeah.
I really like that. I love.
Even though it came before that too.
Yeah.
But it was just like a portion of it.
And I feel like this was where it went from let's discuss to let's
We're
go into
complaining
action.
about it too.
Yeah, to let's go into action
At
about
least
it.
for that planet.
Yeah, and for Cassian as
Yes,
a character.
which then led to the movie.
Yep.
But so they team up, get out of there. The attachment that was after them, most of them die.
Yep.
And the guy that was going after Andor is demoted and,
Yep.
and whatever.
And holds a great
grudge.
anger towards it, great
Yeah.
grudge towards it. Yeah.
The 2 characters, Skarsgård and Andor, he recruits him. Andor goes and meets up with the team.
Yep.
And this begins
The heist.
the better part of the series.
Yeah.
Where it's a heist to get gold. What is it called?
They're effectively robbing an imperial payroll.
A quarter of the payroll for 6 months?
Yeah, for like the entire, not imperial fleet, but like maybe it was for the fleet.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So they, spoilers, this whole thing is, they end up, it's a really good heist thing. It could have been its own thing.
And it's a good setup too. You know what I mean? Like it's like when you remember the movie Solo, there's no preparing for this heist.
Yeah.
They do the heist. It's a action, boring action, and then the heist is done. Whereas in this, there was a lot of lead up to preparing. Here's how we do it. We've got to do it just right. We're meeting all these characters. We're discovering what they're like. Like it was a really good buildup. And then when the actual heist happens, you know what everyone is supposed to do. But then you worry when shit starts like, oh shit, some bit of stuff is going wrong.
Yeah, little things will start
Yeah.
going wrong, or they're about to go wrong, but they're fine.
Yep.
But it's like they're always on
Yeah.
edge, and it's great.
That part was really good. And another thing I really liked about the show was they introduce these characters and you're talking to them and learning about them, and then that person just gets killed. And there's no like, oh my God, my heart's
This is
broken.
something you would expect from like Walking Dead,
Yep.
Game of Thrones.
And the guy just get like the black dude that's he's part of the Imperials that are there. It's like a captain that's there. He just gets shot in the side of the fucking head and he's gone. That's it. No mourning, no crying, no nothing. He's dead.
The only problem I had with this heist and the later breakout thing is that we were splicing in the Coruscant stuff. And I was just like, I'm like, oh, this is great.
Oh, Coruscant again.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I feel like
Serious.
the Coruscant stuff's going somewhere, and I think it's leading towards Mon Mothma. Because Mon Mothma, when we've watched, New Hope and Return of the Jedi and stuff like that, Mon Mothma effectively is leading the rebellion, right? So I think it's what they're trying
Which
to do
one
is
was
show
Mon Mothma?
Mon Mothma's the wife, effectively.
Because that makes sense where
Yeah.
she goes in the series. Yeah.
That's why I think they're trying to show her.
Just so boring and so stale. Like, I get she's a good actor, but she's not. It's just it's too much of the same.
Yeah,
And it's just
and maybe that's what she hates about it. She hates the fucking kind of banality of the bureaucracy that she's part of.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point.
Her sister is actually doing stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she has to be political.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh.
But I do like. I think that's what they're moving towards. Is she's going to eventually have to break up with her husband, or he's going to get killed. What's going to happen to her daughter? And eventually, she's got to become the leader of the rebellion, right? So I'm interested to see where that goes because we know she lives until Return of the Jedi.
I was planning to watch the movie after watching this season, but then I find out that the next season of this is the lead up to the movie. So I'm just gonna wait. Like, I've already watched it way back, but I can't remember.
What movie? Rogue One?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, it was supposed to be. I have it all written here, but I remember. It's supposed to be 5 seasons.
Oh shit!
Cool. Originally. And then it went back and forth in the production of it. And then they were like, okay, we're just going to do one more season.
Okay.
And wrap it all up to where we get to. It's
One.
5 years
Okay.
from the starting of this season to
I
the
like
ending
that,
of
though.
this next season.
I like not having to because I feel like Disney kind of went crazy when they started putting out the movies, and with the massive success of Force Awakens, they said, okay, let's make this and this and this and just you're gonna get it was like fucking Oprah handing out cards. You'll get a series and you'll get a movie and you'll get a movie and you'll get a trilogy.
And we were going down that line of getting a movie every 2 months.
Yeah, and it
that
was
was
like,
a little
fuck
too much.
that.
Yeah.
And then-
Especially when you now put it's Disney.
Yep.
You have all their other stuff.
Streaming,
Star
yep,
Wars,
yep, yep.
cartoons.
But then Last Jedi tanked that, and they're like, "Oh shit, we got to back up." You know what I mean? Like
And
Last
then
Jedi didn't do,
COVID.
and then COVID, and then Rise of Skywalker did so poorly that they were like, "Okay, let's scale it back and only deliver quality, what we think is quality." And so far, the majority, not all of it, but the majority has been quality that they put out. I think Mandalorian was great. I think
Yeah,
Obi-Wan was relatively good. The only one so far that's kind of sucked
I'm talking about the movies. Like
with
Wakanda would like.
Oh, you're
was-
talking about Disney movies. Okay, it's the Star
Yeah.
Wars movies.
but yeah, it's in the same
Wheelhouse.
family, and they're obviously going basing their Star Wars stuff on Marvel stuff and back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think entirely. But
I would love.
I see there's a little
Marvel-
bit of influence.
I would love a Marvel show with the influence of this show, Andor, because they're doing this
think-
right.
I think, and I'm sure I've said it before. Star Wars' future is in TV. I don't think Star Wars' future is in movies because it's easier to tell a little 6-hour miniseries story than it is to have a fucking movie full of a whole bunch of characters and try to get their stories in and out and in and out and in and out.
If we
I
get
really like the storyline idea or the kind of episodic story structure of these Star Wars shows.
if we get the Game of Thrones style, which is what we're kind of getting out of this show, sure.
I'm really looking forward to a show that's starting next year on Disney Plus called The Acolyte. And what's cool
it
is
about?
if I don't know much about it because I'm trying to stay completely in the dark about a lot of this shit because I want to be surprised by it completely when I go in. But if you're and you can see in that picture of Dexter, see he's holding a little piece of paper that says Sith Acolyte.
Where am I looking? Oh, okay, yeah.
So when you're a Jedi and you're learning, you're a Jedi Padawan.
Yeah.
And when you're a Sith and you're learning, you're an acolyte. You're a Sith
Oh,
acolyte.
okay. So you see how the kids.
Yeah. So this movie is
And come
from the dark side perspective of coming up in the ranks.
So it's a movie, not a series.
no, it's a series.
it's a series.
yeah,
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
A series about basically coming up in the ranks as a Sith, and I'm super looking forward to it.
There are two series now, because I wouldn't want them to be movies, that I want them to base from Star Wars lore. The Mandalorian Wars. I want to go through that.
What's the Mandalorian Wars?
It was covered in Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, okay.
So it's back then.
Okay.
And then the other one would be Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Like,
I know
everyone wants a Knights of the Old Republic movie or
You
TV
know what the
show.
problem is I think if they could do it, Knights of the Old Republic is a absolute TV show.
This is a
it should
good
not
time
be.
for it.
Yeah, it should not be a movie.
Considering we're now getting more like quality video game-esque content, like Last of Us is coming.
Yep.
And that will be a good show.
And I wonder too if that will be a good kind of tent pole
Yeah.
to be like, okay, you know what, we could take. There have been some amazingly good comic book movies, like movies made out of comic books, or not comics. I'm sorry, video games.
Few and far between.
Few and far between, but there have been some.
Not
you know?
Monster Hunter. Holy shit.
What are you talking about? What about House of the Dead?
Go
What
back
a
in
wonderful show.
in our episodes, and we talked about Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter has one or two good parts, and most of them have to do with when the girl's bent over.
Okay, so where are we?
But Knights of the Old Republic is such a rich tapestry.
Oh, there's so much you could do.
yeah,
You could have that run for 10 seasons.
I
Make
think
it
that
Game of
was
Thrones.
originally what the guys who did Game of Thrones, remember they left Game of Thrones and destroyed that fucking series to go do a Star Wars trilogy? I think Knights of the Old Republic was going to be their trilogy.
That would have been
And then they
so
said,
good.
"No, sorry guys, you fucked the dog royally with Game of Thrones."
It's
But
so
yet-
much like lore there. There's
Yeah.
so much like you could just pull it from the video game. There's
You
more.
can-
I'm sure there's comic books and
I've got a
stuff.
book. Yeah, a book that's the entire encyclopedia of the Knights of the Old Republic. And dude, it's fucking packed, jam-packed full of information.
It's
so
basically once we're really close to it. Once we're over Star Wars where they are in the timeline.
yeah, go back. in the
Go
past.
to that.
See
Fuck
when
the
the-
future.
Yeah, the Sith versus Jedi battle began. The Mandalorians getting into fights with the Jedi. Like, yeah, there's a rich tapestry back there.
And look up the Mandalorian Wars. I can't tell you what it's about because I don't effing remember. I just found it very interesting to hear about it here and there in Knights of the Old Republic, and how the Mandalorians hate.
Jedis.
I guess so. Someone because they were.
Yeah, Jedis and Mandalorians became enemies.
Anyway, we were at the heist. The heist was very interesting, very well done, and came out. The result of the heist was surprising based off of how many people died, and
And then Andor, the one guy that says, "Hey, let's just take the fucking money and run." And I think that was one of those scenes where it's setting up who this guy is. And this guy is, you're not going to be part of the collective group that's fighting for good. There's no option to just let you go. There's no option to just kind of separate and break apart. You got to die. You know what I mean? And I
it
like
just was
that.
so sudden.
Yeah, I
was
like
just
that
surprised.
a lot.
Yeah.
And again, it's just that's who this guy is. And when you see what he becomes, or like who he is in Rogue One, it's going to be great seeing it grow into that guy.
But then he chooses, which is another surprising thing, he chooses to leave and take some of the money and go be by himself and, hang out and then go see his mom, right? But before that, he gets he walks on a California type. This was so California, right? California like Planet Beach, and then he gets stuck in the middle of a robbery or crime that was happening
that he has nothing to do with.
Nothing to do with. Just walk through, and then they just told him you're under arrest.
Yeah, and you're in jail for 6 years. And again,
Made up
this
the
is just
sentence and
this
everything.
is just showing the power and the how the Empire just completely disregards
They were
anybody.
totally sending a sign of like current times with police.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in Ottawa, though I could tell you a story. But
I don't think any part of
Did I say Ottawa?
Canadian
I meant
Canadian
Canada.
policing was part of this. It
No.
felt very ice and very American. Not as beat you over the head as that terrible Picard series, but yeah, you could feel it. Oh, don't even talk to me about Picard. Hate that show. But it dips
Star
a
Trek
bit.
is better than Star Wars, though.
It dips a bit in the middle for sure. But then, in my opinion, it picked right back up. I enjoyed the Coruscant stuff only because I like the Mon Mothma story because I know who Mon Mothma is and all that.
So then we go into him
In jail.
in jail.
Yep.
And this is a cool jail.
Yeah.
That's all the floors are metal. They're tungsten alloy or something.
Yeah.
And
And they can become electrocuted
electrified.
immediately. Yep.
Exactly. So and they have to walk around
Barefoot.
Barefoot. Yeah.
That's great.
So anything goes wrong, they get electrocuted. Their job during the day is to create parts. It would be hilarious if the parts were specifically for something that bothers Andor later on. It's like I had to build these.
I have a stinky suspicion because there's been apparently like a bunch
droids
of
or something.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of what are they for? What are they for? And I'm sure that if you look close and blah blah blah, you'll figure it out.
I'm sure it's on the
I don't
line
care
already.
enough. But what's cool is like, what if it's part of like an AT-AT walk or something like that? That would be really fucking neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just again, you know what? It's one of those things where, oh, what if it's part of a Carillion freighter that got run over by Han Solo? It doesn't matter. To this story, it doesn't fucking matter.
I think it would be very, I don't even know the word, but if ironic, if it was something that attacked him or that was the bane of his existence in
Squadron.
Fuck, what is it called?
Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah.
Squadron.
And I'm thinking of like
Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron. Yeah.
But
So he's in this.
He's in the prison, and he's in the prison. He's trying to get people to not believe in his cause, but he's
First he's competing in groups to be the best group that makes these parts.
The most parts, yeah. The most parts, yeah.
And do you remember what they get?
If
you were the best group.
I believe it was more food, a little bit more food.
A little bit more flavor in your food.
Flavor, yeah,
so
more
it's
flavor
like
in your food.
porridge,
Yep,
but like maybe you'll get flavor if you do really well.
Yep.
And if you do the worst?
I thought one of your guys gets killed. Or no, you get electrocuted.
Yeah, your whole group walks up to the middle panel and you get electrocuted.
Yep.
So they go through that and then...
Yep. And then Andy Serkis' Kino Loy is kind of the guy that runs the entire floor.
Good actor.
Oh,
Jeez.
he's so good. And he's so good in like he's been 2 Star Wars roles, I guess technically this and
he's multi-character?
Yeah, he was Snoke. He was the guy who played Snoke.
Who was Snoke?
Remember Snoke, the guy with the huge scar in his face, and he died in Last Jedi? They cut him in half. Grand Admiral Snoke? Or Grand...
I don't know Star Wars.
No, it's not Admiral Snoke. Whatever.
But you can't do that in Marvel. You can't multitask
the fuck is it?
roles.
Supreme Leader. There's a word I'm looking for. Supreme Leader Snoke. But no, he's the best part.
How many actors have multi-rolled?
Multi-rolled?
In Star Wars.
I know Warwick Davis for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Hamill. He's played. He did a mocap thing for Last Jedi.
No,
Kenny
that
Baker.
wouldn't count.
Kenny Baker's done multiple stuff. He's been Ewoks, and he was.
I don't really count. Well, I guess you could count that.
He's 2 different people.
Yeah.
But no, he's great in this role, and he brings a lot of real raw emotion to the role, which is really good because Diego Luna is a very emotional actor. And it's great when you put him with a guy like Kino Loy, who's a very emotional, or Andy Serkis, who's a very emotional actor. It's emotional without being like Charlton Heston, over the top emotional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I really enjoyed it, and effectively, Cassian Andor is just trying to find out what goes on in this place. Do we ever get away? Like, do you believe that you're going to get away? We should rise up against them.
I found it very cool that he was constantly looking for a way out.
Yeah.
And he was constantly like just analyzing every little bit.
And again, it's all in support of who this character is.
At this point, I'm like, I would love, or probably at the end of this thing and this breakout thing. I
Breakout.
I would love if this series would go on for multiple seasons and just be like Prison Break of Star Wars. It's just like he just constantly is either doing heists or
Speaking
prison
of a
breaks.
show that can suck my balls, is that show Prison Break.
But you get my point. It's like keep putting him in situations where he has to break out or break into things. I would
That's
love
like MacGyver.
that.
He could be
Sure.
Star Wars MacGyver.
Sure, but with teams. But
With
teams.
teens?
Yeah, sure. With big jugs.
Now who's watching Star Wars porn parody?
Yeah, sorry.
But no, I one thing I really did like too was how Cassian, the character, is always trying to think one step ahead. Like he's always trying, like, okay, if I cut through this and break this, the next thing we have to do is find how many guards are on this floor, and I need you to be able to. Like he's always trying to constantly think one step ahead, one step ahead. And Kino Loy is not like that, who's Andy Serkis' character. And that's why, for me, I just loved when they get to the edge and Cassian is about to jump. He looks back at Kino Loy, he's like, let's fucking go. He was like, I can't swim.
It was a good example of this of how this show is like this issue comes up and sorry, it is what it is.
Yep. But it was also
Leave you behind.
It was also, I feel like Cassian's like, then we break out and then we swim and then we have to hide on the rocks. And then like, he's always thinking that one step ahead. And Kino Loy was just like, let's escape. And so he escapes and he's like, fuck, I can't get away because I can't swim. Like he never thought that far ahead.
But they also don't show him dying either. So they could still use the character another time.
I think he definitely got away. But no, and then
he takes over a freighter that comes in whatever, and then he becomes a part of a team somewhere else, and that becomes a show.
And then they bump into each other later, like, hey, Kino Loy, hey, Cassian.
Oh, there is another season.
Yeah, it could happen. But
you have to break out of another prison.
The show ends. I thought the weakest part of the show was the end.
The battle?
No, the battle was great, but sorry, no.
The walking down the street was very powerful. Like
no. Sorry, not the end of the show. Okay. I thought that was great.
Sorry,
but so once Cassian escapes, he gets back home and finds out his mom is dead.
That was limp.
And that's effectively it for Cassian. I'm like, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
like I feel
but it's also that show of the
and that's what happens.
It is what it is.
But I feel like, man, we had this fucking huge heist, and then we had this huge break into prison. Oh, mom's dead. And like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer way to end it.
And now what?
But no, then the uprising, and what I liked is
his mom spurred it.
Yeah,
she was like, "Oh, this like I'm glad to be here, blah blah blah." And I wish things were different. If I could do it again, I would rise against the bastards and fuck them up.
And
do it.
But rise against, Don't just sit and talk about it. And that's what I feel like the show is leading up to it. And that's what Cassian was. And that's what Luthen told him. Luthen was like, don't just talk about it, fucking do it.
Yeah.
And that's why Cassian's mother was like, don't talk about it, fucking do it. And then begins the uprising. And I feel like this whole show is going to be about the birth of not the birth of it, but the maturity of the rebellion and becoming this force against the Empire.
A small thing that I really loved is their thing that they do when someone dies and is a big enough,
like a funeral procession?
Yeah, but is big enough to get that respect, is they make them into a brick that goes on the special wall.
Yep.
So I loved how when the uprising started, the dude used the brick and started like hitting the shit out of people.
That was great. Because it
was very apropos. Is that the word?
But it's her. It's almost like her being part of the uprising. It's a really well done fucking show. You know, really.
Aside from Coruscant.
Coruscant.
The visuals of it I loved, by the way. Like visuals of the show in general.
And you know what's going to happen in the second season is you're going to like the Coruscant stuff better than the fucking Cassian.
Wouldn't that be
Andor
hilarious? The Coruscant stuff actually becomes interesting, and then the rest is just boring.
It's like, I'll get back to Coruscant.
I thought
Coruscant.
Even the political drama in Battlestar Galactica was good.
Yeah.
In this, I just
I don't know. In Battlestar Galactica, I liked whenever Adama was part of the political drama, but whenever it was just the president,
but that was
like,
always like,
I don't care.
He's always mad.
And it was funny. I heard this conversation a few weeks ago. People were talking about if you had to be aboard someone's ship, who would you want to be aboard? And this one guy brought up, like, if you were on Picard's ship, Picard would give you a dressing down. He'd be like, don't do that again. And then he'd pull you into his ready room and he'd say, I told you not to do it again, but I'm glad you did it because it showed blah, 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 right? And if you were on Kirk's ship would be like, holy fuck, this shit is haywire. We just got to find a way to survive. Do what the captain says. Let's just find a way to survive. So you'd have more fun on a Kirk ship.
But you'd be more.
You get
at
dressed
home
down.
and
you get
family.
dressed down, but forgiven on a Picard ship.
Yeah.
If you were on Adama's ship, Captain Adama's ship, when you pissed him off, he would rip you to shreds, and you would remember that for the rest of your fucking life.
And then if you were on a Star Wars ship, you'd get shot.
Yeah, you just get killed.
Yeah.
If you were on Han Solo ship, you'd have a ball. You'd be banging who knows fucking what across the universe. But if you're on Darth Vader's ship, you just need to keep your fucking head down and do your work, or he will kill you.
So the show ends with his cronies, Andor's cronies, getting away.
Yeah,
and that's going to lead to
cronies.
something.
Yeah,
he's got to
and then
find them.
He wants to kill Luthen, and Luthen wants to kill him effectively. And
At first, but then during this whole uprising, Luthen was like,
maybe you'll be useful.
You could see something changing in his mind, and him
you know
being
what?
affected by what she was saying.
As much as I don't care for these Skarsgårds, Stellan Skarsgård, of all of them, he is the best one. He is just a very...
But Barbarian was amazing.
Yeah, it's great. You know, I think you and I are the only two people that don't like that movie.
I've seen so many
Isn't it
things where it's
fucked
like,
up?
oh my God, this is why Barbarian was so
amazing?
awesome. It's like, wait, what part?
Yeah, my favorite is, you know what's so great about Barbarian? How Justin Long's character, he's kind of one of those guys that, everybody hates. And as he progresses through the movie, like, you understand why you hate the guy. I'm like, yeah, that's why you hate the fucking movie. Because this character's terrible.
Wait.
This story is boring and it goes nowhere.
I
And these people,
decided why I hate someone, so I needed the rest of the movie to tell me why I hate the guy.
and to go, man, you know what's the worst when this happens in a movie? So they do that. Isn't that amazing? I'm like, no, it fucking sucks because that's what you hate about a movie. Everybody that's jacking off over that Barbarian movie, you're all fucked. That movie stinks.
It was awful.
But yeah, so I liked with Andor how Stellan Skarsgård does a good job of you see it change in his head. Where he's like, you know what? Maybe this can be something that works. And they take off, and apparently there's a post-credit scene.
But Andor goes to him and is like, kill me.
Yeah, fucking do it then. And he's like, why would I fucking kill you when this is the start of a beautiful friendship?
Yeah.
And they take off. And apparently there's a post-credit scene that neither of us watched.
We didn't even know about it.
But yeah, I'm...
what is it?
Oh, I never watched it. I haven't looked yet.
Should we pause and go watch it and then come back?
Nah, who cares?
They're just
Let
like,
people comment on it. And watch it on YouTube, because I'm sure it's on fucking
We'll
YouTube
watch
somewhere.
it and then we'll do an hour sour eventually. Just on that.
On the next episode of Andor and the squadron of Joke and Lowell's
What would
Prime
you
Drink.
rate Andor season 1?
If I had to compare it, I'd rather, instead of rating it, compare it to the other Star Wars shows. I think it comes in a very, very razor thin number 2. Mandalorian is number 1.
Out of 10? What?
No, I said I'm fucking comparing it against the other
Okay.
Star Wars shows, you daffy bastard. If I had to compare it against other Star Wars shows, it comes in as number 2, just narrowly beating out Obi-Wan Kenobi. Mandalorian fucking is the best. Then, someone wants to be my friend on, what's that program called? Snapchat.
Oh,
Exciting.
Snapchat is stupid.
But this guy wants to be my friend.
Yeah.
He's probably a real person and not a bot.
Probably a gay bot.
How can a bot be gay?
How can a bot go, hey, baby, please send me your details? And, do you want
I'm
pics
turned
of
on
me?
by you.
Yeah.
All I want from you is your credit card number to know that you really care.
Yeah.
My favorite, and I've told you this before, when they're like, you look so sexy. I'm like, what, my little avatar guy looks sexy? Point is,
Out of 10.
number 1 is Mandalorian. Number 2
I'm surprised.
is...
no, Obi-Wan, you said.
No, number 2 is this, and then razor thin number 3 is Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan totally falls off the fucking cliff at the ending with that, I only wanted I only pretended to be a sister so I could get close to you and kill you. Like, fuck off. That's fucking stupid.
I've forgotten about Obi-Wan already. So.
Rude.
But
no.
If this was not, sorry, I didn't let you finish. As usual.
Usually, as other people.
Out of 10,
I give it like an 8. I really enjoyed it.
I came into it.
You came
bored, and I fell asleep. And
usually I come and then fall asleep, same as you did.
Yeah, I dreaded coming back to it.
Jesus Christ.
No, but
porno.
You know what I
freak.
Remember what I said last week? I was just like so not into it. But I loved it. I do give it an 8 out of 10.
See, it's a magical Christmas miracle.
Aside from the croissants, though.
So,
croissant can just burn and die. I don't care.
Burn and die. Give me
they
like, probably have fucking fire. People, fire.
That's racism.
Fire. It's not racist. I'm trying to be non-sexist. Fire. Emberists.
Arborists. They like trees.
Well, arborists make trees. What would you call them? Fire people, not firemen.
Well, you fire people and then you rehire them if you get more money later.
Be fired men. What's the word I'm looking for? Not firemen, not fire women, fire people. You'd have fire people all over Coruscant, and they would put out fires that people start.
Go watch Andor because it's good.
It is.
Skip the Coruscant part, all of them, because it doesn't matter.
On the next Watch and Complain, we'll be talking about...
Which is in a couple days, actually.
The porno parody of
Troll.
Star Wars called...
Troll.
Lightsabers.
Just confuse people.
And where to stick them.
We're going to cover... We talked about this today. We're going to change what we're doing for Christmas Countdown number 3.
Holy moly.
We were going to do Christmas Story Christmas, but we're like, who cares?
Hey, this guy said on Snapchat that he wants my credit card number, but not to use it.
Instead, we're going to go to the theater and watch...
Credit card number, I guess.
No, Christmas Vacation.
Not the
Christmas.
3 codes on the back, the 3 numbers
card.
on the back.
Enough of that. You got to stop sending people your credit card.
The expiry. Because he says he wants to be my friend. Friends share credit cards.
So we're going to go to the theater and watch
together.
Christmas Vacation.
And I will have a monstrous erection whenever Beverly D'Angelo is wearing that little shirt that shows a little bit of cleavage on it. Oh, Beverly D'Angelo is just... And as a woman, she has aged very gracefully.
You're going to talk like... As a woman, my opinion is...
My cleavage is fantastic, but her cleavage is better than mine.
And the other show we're going to be covering
is... The only bummer, though, is that idiot Johnny Galecki, I think his name is, the thing from...
How I Met... No.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bad Brand.
He's Rusty, and the sister's played by Juliette Lewis. Ew. Gross.
And Troll.
Yeah. She's not a troll. That's fucking rude.
I judge.
So they're the oh fuck. I forgot their names.
Prime.
Griswold. The Griswold children, Troll and Rusty.
Rusty Troll.
Rusty Troll. Is that a sex act?
What is in this?
No, that's a rusty trombone. I still don't know what the sex act of a rusty trombone is.
If you want to act like this, us in general, Prime.
Use the new Prime drink from Joel and Lowell.
Joel and Lowell. JoelandLowell.com.
Joel and Lowell Prime.
We have to go get
There
that
must
right
be
now.
some sort of booze in this because
wow.
I do feel some sort of...
It's just we're getting hydration.
Our bodies are like, oh God, I feel so good. Prime.
Hydration.
Woo!
Made in Louisville, Kentucky.
Country.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
Welcome to Watching a Plane. Oh no, it's the end. We're sorry you've been watching a Plane. Email us at jokeandlowell@watchingaplane.com.
Next week we might be on Twitch.
Next week we might be. Oh yeah, that's right. We just got to get the audio working, and then we'll be on Twitch. And then maybe we'll have 5 views.
More. Or just 5 views.
You know what? We'll have someone that's watching us and they fall asleep while watching us.
We get the most attention from TikTok. And it's all fake views.
That's bullshit.
Balls.
Bye, everybody.